What is up, fellow Mindernauts? It's Justin here from Belgium on a Thursday morning. We are in the fourth video of this series, so it's about how to enhance productivity using game design principle, and today we will talk about the important role of imagination in everything you do. So this one is maybe a bit less linked to the game design principle, but it's linked to the concept of games in general, so very exciting to go a bit deeper into that. If you like what I'm doing and you want me to continue, please subscribe to my channel. I guess if I have more subscribers, it will encourage me to continue doing those kind of video. And also, if you like what I do, please, you can also go on my website and join my email list, where you will be the first one to be aware of when my book is released. So let's dive into the important role of imagination. Can I focus on this one? I don't know. Let's try. So yeah, we are here. And the first thing is to know that games are more than just an entertainment activity. That's something that was said by Chris Batman. It's a very freaking amazing book called Imaginary Games. So if you don't know him, it's a game designer, writer, and philosopher. And I learned something very cool today. He's the one who built one of my favorite games when I was a kid. So it's Discworld Noir. So yeah, it's based on the Terry Pratchett Discworld universe, of course. But yeah, that's a point and click, and that was my favorite game on PlayStation when I was a kid. So yeah, it's a very nice coincidence because I just found this book today, and that's amazing. So what he tried to say in his book is that the games are a form of art that involves the creation of imaginary worlds. So that's a philosophical book. I don't want to go into the debate if the games are art or not. But yeah, I mean, based on what he said, you could say that it's an art because they are a medium for imagination. So if something that interests you, you can go a bit deeper and read this book that is referenced with a lot of different research, etc. That's very interesting, but that's not our subject today. So if we go on imagination, there is an important thing to keep in mind. It's the fact that okay, I close this one. Okay, I can't. Anyway, let's focus on this one. Oh la la, doing stupid thing. So the most important thing is to know that there is like two groups of people. There is people who like the abstract language, and there is people who like concrete language. If you go to the Myers-Briggs terminology, they will use like intuitive versus sensing. And what they say is usually people with like a rich vocabulary and reflective nature possess vivid imagination. So if something that you like, you want to also learn a bit more yourself, you can go on a website that I like a lot, a 10-minute test to learn a bit more about your personalities. It's called 16personalities.com. It's free for the test. Of course, you can pay if you want to learn a bit more. So like just for the fun, this is my profile, my personality. And yeah, so it seems that I'm like 70% on the intuitive side, which means that I'm more open-minded and I have like a very imaginative mind. So that's kind of cool. I like that. And also something like very interesting is like there is 3 times more concrete language people. So if you are like more on the abstract side, you are already like more unique. And basically this is the thing I'm trying to tell to people is like, if you are like on the abstract side, you are already like a bit more different. And I want you to keep your uniqueness and still be productive. That's the entire goal of what I'm doing here. Where I was on this, so yeah. If we move on, this interesting question, and it was like asked in the book, say, hey, if there is less imaginative people, why there are like so many science fiction and fantasy games available right now? And Chris Batman, I don't know exactly how to pronounce his name, but he wrote another book when he made the distinction between like what he called the game hobbyist versus the mass market player. So for instance, like the game hobbyist, like the more imaginative people, they tend to like game, so they buy a lot of games and play a lot of different games. on the other end, the less imaginative people, the mass market player, they will only buy a few games, but they will maybe tend to play those games frequently and often. And if you look like at the best-selling board games, you will see that that's a good indication of the fact that like mass market player buy games. So for instance, like Monopoly, Scrabble, Trivial Pursuit, I don't know how to say that in English, in French we say Trivial Pursuit, and Jenga, not Jenna. Wow. Jenga. The interesting things is like the more imaginative people will tend to hate those kind of game, with like a huge distinction for the Scrabble, which in a way achieved to bring both people on the same table, and that create like two camps, people that play Scrabble. But yeah, I don't want to enter into this debate, but that's the theory why some people like buy a lot of game, play a lot, and some maybe like buy less game. But anyway, now I want to go on to the make-believe theory. That's a theory that was developed by a philosopher called Kendall Walton. You can see his picture here. That could be like very, very, very technical. So I try to keep the things simple. So make believe in a nutshell. Imagine that now you're like playing a video game when you are exploring like distant world or reading a book about wizard school. So I don't want to say Harry Potter, but yeah, a wizard school. If you know those places doesn't exist in real life, but still, you dive into the story. So you feel the excitement, the danger, the adventure as if they were real. And what Walton says is like, it's because you are using your imagination to make believe that the fictional world is real for a while. So if you go like a bit deeper into the theory, Walton will explain that when we engage with stories, movie, games, or any kind of art, we are participating in a sort of game. So even like watching like a paint, it's a sort of game, like it uses your imagination. So of course it's not like playing tag or basketball, but it's a game where our imagination is the main player. And we agree to pretend that the characters, places, and events in these stories are real, and we do that just for the fun of experience of it, you know? And what's really cool with the make-believe theory, it's a very, very, very powerful tool. It's not just about pretending, it just lets us like experience emotion, learn lessons, and see the world from different perspectives without being in those situations. So for instance, if you read about a hero overcoming fear to save the day, like very classic story, it might inspire you to face your own fears. And there is some research about the make-believe that we will just talk in a minute, and you will see that all those things are real. It's not like make-believe, it's a huge tool. You should add that into your toolbox, definitely. So if I want to recap, because it's just like a lot of academical stuff, I know that make-believe, it's a theory. It says that what we do when we are enjoying stories or playing game, it's letting our imagination take the lead, and we temporarily accept the fiction world as real. That's very important. We accept that. We make believe. We know that it's not real, but we accept as it was real. So by doing that, we can explore emotion, ideas, and experiences we might not encounter in our everyday lives. And I mean, that's just a freaking cool way of understanding why we love games so much, you know? Now that you know that, when you play a game or read a book, you know that what your brain is doing is led by your imagination, and this is why you like that. It's because you accept this imaginary world as real for a while. And that's, I find that awesome, you know? So yeah, now if there is a lot of research, not a lot, but something a bit more recent, research around the make-believe conducted by Stephanie M. Carlson, and it was around the execution function and pretend play. So if you don't know what executive function is, something I learned recently. Executive function are a set of brain skills. For instance, like flexible thinking, or you can think about something in multiple ways. It's part also like of your working memory, so it's like, you can hold information in mind and work with it. And then also like the impulse control, or you can ignore like the distraction and control them. For instance, like people with ADHD, usually they have also like some challenge with their executive function. And the experiment they have done, it was to put like a toy in a glass box, So it was with kids, huh? So yeah, that's an important thing because majority of the studies around make-believe are with kids, and I don't know why, because it can also work with adults, we are still kids in a way. So yeah, they have like a giant glass box and they put a toy into it, and they gave the kids a set of keys to unlock the box. And yeah, it was a bit mean, of course, but none of the keys worked. What they wanted to try is to evaluate like the resistance, the patience of the kids, and for that they offered them like a few different strategies, and one of them was to pretend they were Batman or Dora the Explorer. And for instance, they even gave them like a Batman cape to very like be in the situation. Make this believe that I'm Batman, and we will see like the result where freaking awesome. So what happened is like the kid we pretended were more flexible thinker than the other one. They spent more time trying to open the box and they tried more keys and they were calmer in general. So what it says, like kids who made believe that they were Batman, they acted as if they were a year older in terms of execution function skills. So I think it was with 4-year-old kids, and it's crazy. I think one of them said like Batman never get frustrated. It's like they really like in the skin of Batman, and that's the power of the make believe. So in general, like the make believe can you give some benefits. So what it does is like it creates like a psychological distance between you and the problem. So it allows you to take like a step back and see the problem from different perspective. And what is really cool, and this is why I want to really insist on that, it uses the same brain network as the real behavior. So if you practice make believe, you will more likely to use the same brain networks in real situation. And I know that it is like the common thing, like say fake it till you make it, but that's true. You can be someone else and practice with that, and that will just enhance your skills in real life. That's not a joke. There is like research behind that. So now, if you want to apply those concepts in your life, so yeah, I think this part will be maybe a bit less practical than usually, because we should practice that. But what I can tell you is like, we talked yesterday about like the different pillar, or it's not people, it's pillar, when you are working. So for instance, if you are reading and then you move to writing, try to experiment with a different self. You can have like someone like very calm, like introvert, etc. So for instance, like for me, I'm not someone like very extrovert, but when I'm doing this video, I try to be more energetic than I usually am. I try to be a different version of myself. Also, do not hesitate to let your imagination and daydreaming lead the experience. You should see what you are doing as a game. Like imagine that you're like in different world, that you're a different person. Practice with that, and you'll see that. That's awesome. It's not like a childish thing. It's as an adult you should use that all the time. Kids play like this all the time. They play like Indians and cowboy, like cops and thieves and all the stuff like this. They all the time do that, and it helps them to improve their skills and be better in real life. So I don't know why as an adult we stop doing that, to be honest. But anyway, the next thing that you should do is practice. And to practice, that's like the advertising of this video. I'm writing a book about this subject. It's like, you can practice make-believe by using analog games. So what I'm teaching in my book, it's like you use like an analog game, like a multiplayer game, and you play like different personas. So you play this game alone, and you just try to see like the game like from different perspectives with different personas, and that's just a practice. And then you can reuse that every day in your life and work. That's awesome. Just join my list and you will be the first one to be aware of that. That's a superpower that not a lot of people have, and I'm just sharing that with you. So just subscribe. That will change your life. I guarantee you that. And then, of course, to conclude this video, I have 3 questions for you. So first, what imaginary role could I play to make my current task more engaging? So, we talk a lot about this, like this flow states, etc. I can see nothing with like the light. But yeah, if you are like starting to be a bit bored, try to let your imagination, your brain, your mind like daydream a little bit, and maybe play like a different role for a ride. I don't know. If you are writing, maybe imagine that you are, any writer. I don't know. I was looking for a name and I didn't find anything right now. I don't know. Stephen King. Voilà. First one come in mind. Imagine that you are someone else and see how you act maybe differently. Also, try to use make-believe to visualize the goal a bit more like vividly. Sometimes we set goal and we just write something on paper, but I mean, there is like a power of like visualization. I mean, try to visualize your goal. Try to anticipate what it could like to be in this situation when the goal is achieved. That can also like improve a lot your productivity, your motivation. So again, like believe that the goal is already done and see who you are at this point. And the last question is like, what make-believe scenario can help me overcome the challenge I'm facing right now? So a lot of time people are just reading non-fiction to learn a lot, but you should try also to learn more fiction because fiction, as Chris Bateman say in his book, it's really that, like reading fiction help you to project yourself in the story, to make believe, and you can reuse that in your real life. That's doing something in your brain that you can reuse in your real life. So yeah, that's the conclusion of this video. I hope that you enjoy it. If you like it, like again, do not hesitate to subscribe to my YouTube channel or even to my newsletter. So yeah, that was like the first video number 4. I don't know how to pronounce that in English, sorry. Video number 4 in this series. Yeah, and I see you tomorrow. Peace.